All right, Coach, I'm not going to ask you what you want to see improve. I'm going to ask you what part of the defense do you want to see improve at this point in camp?
Well, one thing we got to do on both ends is with defense and offense is pick up our intensity. I think we're kind of in exhibition season mode, and we can't do that. I think that we ramped it up, I thought, in the Golden State game, but in the Denver game, especially with our first unit, he's got to ramp up the intensity, and that was the theme of the practice today, is everything's hard, whether it's defensively, offensively, hard cuts, hard slides, even when you're going through some of the monotonous drills that we're doing here in training camp. We got to carry our drills and that intensity to the games.
Is that the signature of one of those elite teams, is the fact that they always have those little details down?
Well, you know, the thing about it is I think it's throughout the league is getting guys, veterans, ramped up for exhibition games. But again, we're still in the mode of creating winning habits. That's the most important thing for us right now, is creating those habits. And the only way you create them is doing them on a consistent basis. You can do them one time or 1 out of 4 times. But like the other night against the Clippers, we knew that they were going to come out breathing fire. They were down 50 points in the game before against Golden State. So we knew that they were going to come out swinging. And I don't know if we met their intensity level and their physicality at the start of the game.
Everyone knows Brady can shoot the ball. Are you seeing what you need to be seeing from him, what you want to be seeing from him in the other areas of his game defensively and as a point guard?
Well, that's the key, that's been all the key question. And believe me, he's trying. He's one of the hardest workers, but he's a big-time shooter. And when you're trying to make a team, you do what you do best, and you shoot the ball, and he's done that. And that's the most important thing for him. We're going to stay on him about his defense, but I think he's shown the entire league, and I think the league knows he's one of the top shooters in the league. So I was proud of the way he came in the other night and the display he put on, and you know, really happy for him. And he's doing exactly what we need him to do, is shoot the basketball in those situations, and again, be where the schemes can take care of him defensively.
Fred mentioned that in the last game, which was his first start, he thought after the game that maybe he was thinking a bit too much playing with the starters, like he was trying to get them the ball more than what he would have with the second unit. That part aside, have you been impressed with the poise he has shown when he's been
Totally,
out there?
and that's one reason why I put him out there, to get him christened against Chris Paul. That was a great experiment for him, to go against a veteran great player like Chris Paul, and just to see all the things, the situations a guard like that put you in. Kyle has put him in some of those situations in practice, but it's a totally different level in a game situation. I thought he did a good job, had a couple of turnovers, but it was a great lesson to be taught from him to go against Chris Paul. But I love Fred. He doesn't change expressions. He's under control, never off balance, never off balance. And that's one thing you really like about him. And he competes in practice. He doesn't back down from Kyle. He's up into he and Corey, and he creates atmosphere for our 2-point guards.
That kind of why Tolsey caught his eye. I mean, he caught Tolsey's eye early on. I mean, with Fred, with the way he plays.
Yeah, no way. I think he's catching the league's eye, not just Tolsey. All of us. I think he's an NBA player. I mean, I don't think there's a question. Just all he needs is some seasoning and some experience like he had the other night. And he does some things, some subtle things that you don't recognize. And, you know, the crackdowns, he's one of the few guys that went in there and really sandwiched DeAndre Jordan and got physical with him. Those things that point guard has to do, and he does all the little things that you want out of your point guard.
Dwane, in your evaluation of him, how difficult is it for you knowing that when he goes out with the starting unit, I mean, he's trying to run and facilitate the offense, but at the same time, there may be a part of him not doing what he wants to do because he realizes who he's on the floor with, whereas you talked about the group at the end of the game, all young guys all out there scrapping. There's a different dynamic there.
No question. It is a different, you got to be able to say no. You got DeMar DeRozan over in the wing calling for the ball. You got Jonas Valanciunas in the post calling for the ball. You got, you know, T. Ross or DC coming off pin down. So what do you do? And you're wide open. So you got to make a basketball play. It's a great experience for him. He's got to be a leader. A leader's able to say no and tell DeMar why he didn't throw it to him, and he does that. He has no fear, and that doesn't bother him. But it's a different dynamic, different mindset that you got to have playing with the starters. And again, you are a distributor, but again, at the same time, you still have to be aggressive to keep the defense honest.
Do you like having This week had 3 games to see what isn't as far along as you had thought.
Yeah, we got it. We need the practice. We need more conditioning. We need to show up on a lot of our offensive stuff, execution that we haven't had a time to get in. We've been really working and concentrating defensively. We still have some defensive situations we got to show up. You like to have an opponent kind of in between there, but again, we'll take it. We're never going to shy away from having practice time. But again, it's always good to have that opponent in there. But again, we'll take the practice time.
I don't know if you can answer this, but how are you able to evaluate how your team is doing when, as you mentioned, sometimes preseason the challenge is getting your veterans to be awake? Like how much do you know versus?
Right, they're awake. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like they're not awake.
Right.
But again, to see what areas you need to show up on, and we've seen enough in the 3 games that we've had. We've had a lot of issues defensively, a lot of issues offensively that we can give us enough to work on and to practice against. So there's enough that's been shown that we can use as motivation and as areas of need to work on.
Fair amount of playing time for Bruno through 3 preseason games. It seems like the defensive awareness and reaction time is coming along a little bit. Have you been impressed with how he's looked at there?
Totally impressed with his defense that he had the other night. I thought he did an excellent job of keeping the man in front of him, challenging the shot, got his hand, got a couple of steals. No, his progress is coming. Bruno is growing. He's getting better. It may not be at everybody else's pace, but I can see the difference in his play. And he's much better. The luxury we don't have is to have him play with the starting. When DC came back, we got him away from the starters a little bit. But he's more relaxed with the starting unit. But so that's the thing. His growth is coming, and really impressed with the way he's coming along.
Defense pretty far ahead of the offense at this point?
Well, if he made a couple of those shots the other night, we'd say his offense is ahead of his defense. But usually his gift and his role is probably going to be as a defender right now. And if he gets an open shot, that's gravy. So I would rather for him to concentrate and focus in on the defensive end right now as he's getting into the mix and everything like that than his offense.
Longer term, where are expectations for him this year? Is it to go down to the D-League and kind of assert himself and dominate, or are you expecting him to play a role for you guys?
I would say, back and forth is the thing, because our need is at the 3. And 3-4 position, and I think in the future he's going to be one of those stretch 4s. And again, I keep likening him to Rashard Lewis from Seattle. Had in Seattle, that long, lanky. Took him a long time to figure out the 3 spot, but once he figured out the shooting part of it and the defensive part of the 4, and that's what Bruno played against the Clippers the other night, was the 4 position, and I thought he was very comfortable in that position. Going against their 4-man, and so that may be down the road where we look at him and as a backup 3-4, 4-3 position. So, but again, his experience, he's still a young kid. I wouldn't, get too impatient with him at all. But his future is still down the road and as a 3-4.